Hello and welcome to another episode of the New York Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network. Sal Licata, John Jastrzemski here. Plenty of the baseball to get into. JJ still ahead of the trade deadline. And the latest today involving the Mets, who, hey, played a little bit better here out of the All-Star break. I'm not going to get too worked up about Luis Robert Jr. Good riddance, whatever sucker team wants to take him on. But the idea of Clay Holmes, and our colleague Will Salmon and Ken Rosenthal had an article out of The Athletic that, look, Holmes wants to be with the Mets. He's open to an extension, but the Mets may be looking to move Clay Holmes instead. I would love a world, JJ, where Holmes is here for next year. But either way, like if they could maximize the return on Clay Holmes right now, I'd be for it. If they could figure out a way to extend him for a couple of years and have him locked into that rotation next year with a promising start from young Zach Thornton again last night. You talk about Christian Scott, McLean. I like that idea. I'm okay really either way, however David Stearns decides to handle Clay Holmes. But I think it's interesting that Holmes wants to be back with the Mets and is open to an extension.
Well, listen, I'm sure there's a part of Clay Holmes that feels a sense of loyalty because he was a free agent. He was a reliever. This idea of him becoming a starting pitcher was kind of like head scratching, where it's like, yeah, you started years ago for the Pittsburgh Pirates. You weren't any good at it. You got moved to the bullpen. You weren't exactly a household name when the Yankees traded for you in 2021, and then you go and turn into an all-star closer. I remember 2 years ago when that came out, oh, Clay Holmes is going to be a starter. I'm like, what? Really? He has the stuff to do it? And he shut me up. I mean, he's been a fantastic starting pitcher, and durability. I know he's missed the last couple of months. Sal, this is not like a groin tweak, an elbow, a shoulder. He got a ball lined off his leg. Like that can legit happen to anyone. Freakish injury. So I think Clay Holmes probably looks at the Mets and says, wow, they believed in me as a starter. Therefore, I kind of want to see this through. That said, I want to get paid a lot more money because I signed a very friendly contract after I left the New York Yankees. And now I have shown that I'm a more than capable big league starter. And that's why, from like a financial standpoint, I think it makes perfect sense for the Mets saying, yeah, we want to extend this guy. We want to get it done before he even gets to free agency. But if you're Clay Holmes and you have the opportunity now to get traded, let's say, whether it's to Atlanta, whether it's to Tampa, whether it's to whatever the contender of your choice may be, go pitch my ass off for the next 2 months, go and improve my value that much more, maybe by pitching in postseason games. Sal, I don't know about you. If I were Clay Holmes, I made it this far. As much as I may like being a Met, I kind of want to get to free agency and see what I could get in return. That's me.
Yeah, but if you feel like you found a happy place, and again, I don't know. It just in the beginning when we started talking about this, I was thinking it would be crazy for the Mets to trade Clay Holmes. I was not aware that he could opt out. So I was assuming that he was under contract. Then once you hear about the opt out, it's okay, well, now it makes sense to why they'd be open to trading Clay Holmes. But once you hear that he is open to an extension, because I would never think that that would be the case. To your point, like, why would he care? He could go pitch for a contender, opt out, and then go hit free agency. But if he feels like he found a home within the Mets organization and wants to be here, a part of me thinks it's their responsibility then to keep him here because he's a good pitcher who's performed well here, performed well in New York with both the Mets and the Yankees in two different roles. Why wouldn't you want him to be a part of your organization moving forward, other than the thought process of let's maximize our return and then pursue you again in free agency? But I get the feeling that once Holmes leaves...
He's gone,
yeah.
Sal, he's gone. Let's make something crystal clear. If the Mets go and trade Clay Holmes between now and August 3rd, I put the chances at less than 5% he's getting re-signed by the Mets.
Yeah. See,
I just think that ship sails at that point. That's my opinion.
Can I vent to frustration from last night?
Yeah, please.
Instead of watching Luis Robert Jr., because I know what most Met fans are thinking, right? First of all, it bothers me that you're moving A.J. Ewing around all over the place, but whatever. I understand, like 2 weeks. You're showcasing Luis Robert Jr. as if, like, nobody knows what he is. And now these 2 weeks are going to change opinions around the league. Whoa, Luis Robert Jr. can play a little defense, has got some potential with some power. Yeah, like that's what he's been. We all know what Luis Robert Jr. is. But here's why I was bothered last night. Because it reminded me of what could have and even should have been. There is no way on earth this Mets team should be as bad as it has been this year. Even factoring in injuries. Like Robert, we knew he wasn't going to play a full season. Could you play half a season even? But where is he? Where is the guy? Nowhere to be found. And I understand the emergence of Ewing is great and all that stuff, but watching Robert absolutely hit a monster tank last night, watching him in center field look like the promising player that I was excited that the Mets acquired in the offseason, that bothered me more than got me excited about the potential return for him. It was annoying watching him go out there last night.
Yeah, it would bother me too.
Yeah.
Would bother me too. Because listen, Robert was brought in as like this, low risk, high reward type of signing. And I don't think anybody looked at him, Sal, as like some long term answer in center field. But people around the Mets were super stoked when they made that trade. And he's got talent. That's the incredibly frustrating part about watching Luis Robert. This is a guy with 35 plus home runs and was an all-star center fielder a couple of years ago. And look, I'm not going to roast the Mets for this. I don't think you are either because you get it. You understand it. AJ Ewing and Carson Bench are going to be fine. They could deal with this for 2 weeks. Juan Soto could DH 1 or 2 days a week. Ewing could go and play a different position 1 or 2 days a week. Bench can sit against a tough lefty. Robert doesn't have to play every day. You play nice. Those young guys are going through the dog days of the summer. And then when Robert's out of here on August 1st or August 2nd, whatever it is, and Sal, he's going to be traded. And believe it or not, somebody's going to want him. I'm not saying you're going to get the moon and the stars for him. Have you seen the market for offensive players at this trade deadline? Dude, it's awful. Like, I have a buddy of mine who's a big Philadelphia Phillies fan. So I'm watching the game last night. I'm getting ready for sports night. I texted him. Because remember, they got Bader last year, and Bader was great for them down the stretch. And I saw him at All-Star Week. He's like, they need an outfielder. They need an outfielder. So as soon as Robert hit that ball, it was like a home run derby. Home run. Like, it was absolutely launched. Like, crazy, crazy shot. I go, you want Luis Robert? He goes, yeah, I kind of do. I'm not saying you get a huge prospect back, but that's the point of getting him out here for the next 2.5 weeks. It's not that it's going to change a ton of front office perspectives. I think they know what Robert is as a player, but it might add to a sense of urgency saying, hey, this guy hits 6th to 7th in our order. We keep him on the field. It's better than nothing, Sal.
Right. He looks healthy right now. I'm fine with that. And I have no problem with AJ Ewing getting rest. And I don't love it, but I have a little less of a problem with moving him to a corner outfield spot when we know he's a center fielder. I have a big issue with playing him at second base. I don't care if he could do it or not. I do not. He's the center fielder of the future. Stop messing around with him at second base. But I understand this is just a couple of weeks here, and Robert's going to be on his way. To your point, though, about the lack of quality bats available at the deadline, that's why I'm surprised that more people wouldn't be interested in Francisco Lindor. You and I have talked about this multiple times before. Like, there's still good value in Francisco Lindor. I don't think he's going to end up getting moved, but if I'm another team, I'm trying to get him away from the Mets on the cheap the best that I could. Now, the Mets aren't going to give him away, and I know the contract is far different from Luis Robert, but JJ, he's still a shortstop with potential to be a game wrecker. He could be the difference. Again, I'll bring it up with the Yankees because we had this conversation and you were on board with it from a Yankee perspective. He could be the difference in a Yankee lineup that could maybe push them over the top in the postseason.
Sal, remember I said this. I think Lindor is going to have a monster final 2 months of the year.
Yeah.
I think he's going to play really, really well. You want to know why? We have evidence of him doing this sort of thing. Now, this is the worst season he's ever had as a Met. This is the worst season he's ever had as a big leaguer, quite frankly. Like, it's just been, we don't need to relitigate. It's been a nightmare. The mistakes mentally, the injuries, the underperformance. But how many times have you seen Lindor with these crummy starts, even crummy first halves? Then you look up and he goes and hits like 330 with 6 or 7 bombs. And it's like, oh, Lindor got his numbers at the end of the year. He's not going to get his numbers this year, but I fully expect him to rake over the final 2 months of the year. And I think that's part of the problem. I think the Mets are probably, if they're going to entertain any sort of trading Lindor, they're going to hold him to, hey, he's Francisco Lindor. He's not this diminished asset. Where if I were a team trying to acquire him, I'm not giving you the Francisco Lindor price. That's part of the problem. That's why I've made it like pretty obvious if you're the Mets. If you're even going to entertain the thought, get him right, let him rake, do this in the offseason. Like, this is, let him go get going because I know he's going to get going, dude. He's going to get going.
No, I think it's a great point. I'm just saying, from the Mets perspective, yes. From an outsider perspective, I'm just surprised there isn't as much interest. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. From an outside perspective, would I want to pay that full contract right now and give whatever it would take to get Lindor because the Mets are going to keep him as a high value? Probably not, but at least be interested. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of interest, at least from the rumors. We haven't felt like there's yeah, he's on the table, but I haven't felt the interest. As a matter of fact, the one report I saw was the Yankees, they were interested in certain Mets players. He was not one of them.
Interesting, because the Yankees have this love affair with Lombard. We'll see if he ends up being
Yeah.
the guy. And my guess is, Sal, if the Yankees are interested in Met players, it's like some combo of like Weaver, Raleigh, Minter. And if I had to throw a dark horse in there, maybe Robert. Maybe.
No, Robert, no
It's
catcher?
like I don't think the Mets are trained their catchers.
At least from a Yankee perspective, I've had interest in one of the
Yeah, I
catchers.
make the call, but I'm telling you, Robert, I think they could view him as like, hey, we don't have to play Dominguez. Right?
Or they move Dominguez in another deal. Let's say
And
they
they can move Grisham to a corner.
right. Move Dominguez and Spencer Jones. Although, dude, if the Yankees get, and by the way, a big day for the Yankees today, Garrett Cole, game one of the doubleheader, Max Fried returning. Now you start to see what that.
Hallelujah, Sal. You know I love Max Fried. I've missed him.
Yeah.
I love watching that guy pitch.
And it's a big day because the Yankees will have an off day on Thursday and then hit the road. Dude, that is a long, grueling road trip. Philadelphia, both Chicago teams. That is not going to be an easy road trip here. So it's nice to see them starting to get healthy with Max Fried back. But the idea that they would be able to trade, and this is what I was talking with Duquette yesterday. We had him on the show. The idea that the Yankees might be able to get Mason Miller for Jones and Dominguez. What? Well, the
Padres can't be that stupid.
Come on,
They
dude.
can't be that stupid.
Yeah, thank you, Brian Cashman, for making Jones and Dominguez available now when they basically have no value.
Well, listen, if they can go and get that done, I'll be dancing the streets of Brooklyn, dancing the streets of Staten Island, dancing at your barbecue this weekend, dancing if that gets done. One note on Mason Miller, and I want to make this abundantly clear. Sal, I want him. He's a stud. He's the best reliever in the game. So I put this clip up on my socials earlier in the week. Did not exactly give New York City the most ringing endorsement. Like,
oh, I didn't see this.
Yeah, basically I asked him, I go, okay, what do you think about New York City? He goes, not really much of a big city guy. And that's okay. Like, there are, I'm sure, plenty of guys who have thrived here who are quote unquote not big city guys. But like, if you know you're getting traded, is that something you want to be like honest and open about? You know, he mentioned like the tradition and the prestige of the Yankees, but he goes, not much of a big city guy. But was like, oh boy.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not going to make a big deal. That wouldn't really scare me off. Although there could be something to that. All of a sudden, you get him here.
Well, let me tell you something, Sal. If he goes and stinks,
I'm
going to think about that quote a lot more.
Well, think about this: a guy like that who's been lights out, unhittable. Let's say he comes to New York, and then early on he's feeling the pressure and he gets beat. And then the fans now start to get on him a little bit. That's how you have something go sideways so quickly, where he won't like that, getting booed, doesn't like the pressure in New York. And then that's how you could see those things not being a healthy marriage. And for once, can Brian Cashman do his due diligence? I don't know, Mason Miller. You talked to him. I didn't. You have the clip out there, but figure it out. We saw this with Devin Williams. The guy couldn't be hit. All of a sudden he comes to the Yankees and he has a 4 ERA or whatever it may be. So do some due diligence before you go all in. Just look at the numbers somewhere else.
Listen, it's numbers, and you got to have a feeler for makeup. We've talked about this with Stearns a lot. I feel like the Yankees, they've done a better job in making free agent trades, identifying this. Like Max Fried is a guy that's wired to pitch here. It's obvious. Garrett Cole is a guy that has the right mentality to go and pitch here. Josh Donaldson, not so much.
Sonny Gray.
You know what? I don't roast Sonny Gray about not being able to pitch here.
He said he didn't even like it here.
But I think the Yankees ruined him, Sal. That's my personal take on it.
But didn't he say that he didn't like pitching in New York?
Well, I think it's easy to say that now when it didn't go well for you. My feeling on Sonny Gray is he has a certain style in which he tries to pitch, and
they wouldn't let him do it.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if the Mets are doing that with Peralta. Think about it, because you have a guy
Oh,
that's
Sal, book it. Peralta's going to pitch great when he gets traded.
yeah,
You know it, and I know it. He's going to pitch great.
the guy's been good his whole life, his whole career. He comes here. Now, I'm not saying he's been great his whole career, but he's been very good and then was great a year ago. He comes here, he's got a 5 ERA, one of the worst ERAs in the league. At some point, you got to say that, you know what, maybe they're the problem, not the player. The players keep coming here. They're great everywhere else. They come here, and then all of a sudden, they're the problem.
You better hope, if you're Stearns and you're that pitching department, you better hope Peralta gets traded and looks like the exact same guy. If he goes and his lights out and is pitching to a 2 ERA, it's not a New York thing, Sal. It's not.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I don't, because, like, there are guys mentality-wise where I'm like, yeah, it's a New York thing. Like, Devin Williams, to me, seems spooked by pitching in New York, even though he chose to stay in New York. Peralta, he's laughing. He's got the big smile on his face. I just think he's been bad. I mechanical. I don't think it's like a persona, big lights, big city type thing. That's my read on it.
Agreed. I don't think it's a New York thing. I think it could be an everything else thing with Peralta. As a matter of fact, I'd be open to bringing him back. If the Mets can't get good value for him, keep him, extend the qualifying offer. I'm at least open to that if the market for him is not what they think would be a good value. We have a couple of questions from YouTube we'll get to here in just a second. I just wanted to close with this before we get to those. LeBron, you have any thoughts? Because his decision is going to impact the Knicks. I feel like it's going to be the Heat. And I don't know about you, JJ. I welcome it. I welcome Halliburton coming back and the Knicks beating the Heat. I hate the Pacers and the Heat. Those are my two most hated teams. The Knicks didn't beat them in their championship run a year ago. I look forward to that, defending the crown, having this season as champions, trying to beat the Pacers and Halliburton whenever you play them, whether it be the postseason or not. And then the Heat with Giannis already. Riley, I think, can land LeBron. I feel like he's going to Miami, and that would renew a great hated rivalry. Where do you think LeBron's going to end up, and how do you think that will change the landscape of the East for the Knicks?
Okay, it's funny you mention this. So I do follow the money yesterday on VSiN with my guy Paulie Howard, and he's tight with Tony Rizzo, who is basically like Cleveland's Francesa. Like he's Cleveland's Mike and the dog. Like he's been around forever. He's like institution there. Great guy. Want to play golf with him. Seems like an absolute hoot. He is like drawing the line in the sand, Sal. He's like, he's coming back. He's going to Cleveland. And here's why I tend to agree with him. Here's why I tend to agree. Think about this whole scenario and how it's played out over the last 20-something days. You're dragging Cleveland into the mud, and you're going to go and humiliate and embarrass your hometown again. Like LeBron right now he's always going to be the king because he won for them and he came back and he delivered. But now there is this additional dangling carrot of, hey, it's going to start and finish in the same place. It's going to be this storybook ending. It's going to be me back at home in Cleveland. And you're going to pull the rug from under them to go to Miami again with Riley. And I get it. He could play golf there 12 months a year. I wonder if he ends up in Miami, it's not only the idea of playing with Giannis, but I do think the environment of living in Florida 12 months a year compared to being in Cleveland in like January and February and when the weather stinks, hey, on an off day, I can go and play golf. I know this sounds silly to talk about, but I kind of think this is where LeBron's head is at when he's 40-something years old. Like quality of life and this sort of stuff matters a great deal to him. Yeah. I think ultimately, Sal, though, he's not going to go and betray his hometown again. I say he ends up in Cleveland, and I'm going to say the reason this is taking so long is because not only are they trying to get LeBron, I think they're trying to orchestrate another move so that when LeBron comes, it's something else in addition, and it's like, the roster, the finances, everything that comes with it. I'll say he ends up back in Cleveland.
All the reasons you just said about Miami is why I think he's going to Miami. Oh, and by the way, they have a better chance to win. They're better than Cleveland. I know Cleveland's good, and LeBron would help them. I don't think they could be a legitimate champion or even a threat to the Knicks.
Right
I think
now,
Miami could.
Sal, now, okay. If the move is LeBron and the roster as is, of course.
Right.
You got a bunch of losers on that team.
You're right. Maybe that's why he's waiting.
But if they go, let me throw a counter at you. What if they go and flip Allen for Markkanen? Really good player. What if, and listen, he's a nut job. He's certifiably insane. What if they get Kyrie Irving back? I would bring it on. I still would like the Knicks' chances, but that's a much Am I right or am I wrong? That's a much different looking Cleveland team than the one we're talking about at the moment.
And maybe that is part of the hesitation. He's waiting right now. It's Miami clearly, but he's waiting to see what other move Cleveland would make because if he's we had Geltauer on yesterday, one of the shows that I was doing, and he was saying that he thinks it's Miami, but also saying that the Warriors wouldn't be ruled out because of where they are location wise, but also the thing that would hold the Warriors up was that they are not as close to winning as some of the other options. LeBron is going to prioritize winning, and if that's the case, then I would think Miami. All right,
Well, you can't end up, and here's one thing to close this out. You can't win in that Western Conference if you're him with the Spurs and the Thunder. Like the East, as much as we love the Knicks, like after that, it's the Wild Wild West. That's if it's me, that's where I want to be.
All right, couple of comments here, JJ. J Brand 323 checks in. Yankees don't have the luxury of worrying about the Dodgers in October right now. Look in the rearview mirror. Red Sox are coming fast, 4.5 games back. And I mean, dude, what the Red Sox have done. It's unbelievable. I mean, Michael Kay goes on and says the Red Sox suck during the broadcast. They haven't won since. I mean, what is going on here? I still, though, and he's referencing what we were talking about the other day, where I was saying the Yankees need to close the gap on the Dodgers. I still would be looking at that. I'm not worried about the Rays or the Red Sox. I understand that that's the competition to win the division. Sure. I'm thinking big picture, talking World Series. You're trying to fortify your team to go win a World Series. That's what it's about. So while I give credit to the Rays and certainly respect the Red Sox, my focus still would be on trying to be the best team in baseball, getting on par with where the Dodgers are at.
Yeah, no question. You're the New York Yankees. Now, the Red Sox have definitely caught my attention. There's no getting around it. Like, and this is what bothers me, and this has bothered me quite a bit, Sal, about this sort of run the Yankees have been on over the last, 8-9 years. You could look at it. We'll call it the Boone tenure. They have had a knack for reviving team seasons. They've now done this with the Red Sox 2 consecutive years. The Red Sox were dead a year ago going to Yankee Stadium. And I know they beat them and they ended up winning the wild card series. Barely, might I add. Barely. And they should thank their lucky stars that Cam Schlittler pitched the game of his life. But if you remember last year, the Red Sox were not in this position, but they were a bad team. They played the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. They go and beat them Saturday and Sunday when they hadn't won a game in forever. They took off. They ended up sweeping the Yankees at Fenway Park, and they ended up like reviving their season. Same thing, Sal. Why do the Yankees have to be the team to revive anyone? Like they should be the ones stomping on these teams, not giving them a new lease on life. Red Sox can pitch. That's what scares me about them. They can pitch. Suarez, Gray, they get Crochet back in the mix. Their bullpen is really good. They have a bunch of guys who put the ball in play. They're pesky. They're spunky. It's weird. You don't think of a Red Sox team that way. And if they get Anthony back, all of a sudden it's like, that'd be a series that wouldn't be fun to play come October. Like from a comfort level perspective, Sal, I will not be comfortable one bit if the Yankees are playing the Red Sox in the playoffs. Is that fair?
On that point, JJ, our last comment here, Rikia Channel 9317. I'm afraid this Red Sox was Jays of last year. They are a team of destiny. They have momentum, and I feel like they're going to go to the World Series and meet up with the Dodgers. I think it's fair to be a little nervous to your point about the Red Sox. I think people are going too nuts now. Like they're good. They're dangerous. They're not going to look any better than this. They're in the middle of a huge winning streak here. That will cool off. And then how do they respond from there? I still think head to head, assuming the Yankees get healthier here, Fried starting today helps. Getting Judge back at some point. Stanton maybe not as far away as we initially thought. So those are good signs. And then fortifying their team at the trade deadline, assuming that they do that and that the Red Sox don't do as much as they do. Look, I think they're a threat, the Red Sox, and I'd be a little worried about them, but I'm still ultimately not. I don't think that they're some team of destiny, although it seems like that right now.
Well, listen, if you're feeling that team of destiny vibe, go bet them to win the pennant. They're still like 10-1 to win the pennant. Like the numbers come down. Like they were 25-1, 30-1 a couple weeks ago. So beyond dead.
They were Mets level dead.
And you know what? It goes to show you. And I know the American League is probably the place you want to be for this. But then again, the National League, I know there were a bunch of teams in it. That wild card race, nobody other than the Phillies is really like distinguished. Phillies and Cubs, they're playing well. But that last spot, it's a bunch of 500 teams. It shows you that if the Mets actually played and put together a couple of weeks, I don't think it would be this with Boston, right. But like there was a pathway for it. And Boston turned their season around. The Mets have not.
You're exactly right. You're always a couple of weeks away from being right back in the thick of things, and it is it shows you how bad the Mets are. Like, how bad do you have to be that you can never once sniff being in it? My God, just have a 2-week run. You're gonna be. You don't have to win 14 straight, but you win 10 out of 13 or something like that. You're gonna be right in the thick of things. They just could never do it. Why'd you have to end on a bad note? Come on.
Sorry, I didn't want to, and I'm gonna see you later too.
Yes.
Max Fried tonight. It's weird because it's like such a short spurt and stint, but get out unscathed. Like, honestly, you get out unscathed. He should have been making a rehab start. So now it's like a rehab start in the big leagues. But sure, I'm excited. Let's go.
Yeah, and Yanks need at least a split here before they take a day off and hit the road for a long trip. All right, that does it for us. Be back again on Friday. Special episode coming up as well. JJ and a guest. I don't know when that's airing. Do we know when that's airing?
I guess later today, but I don't make the schedule. So
okay, me neither. I don't know if to promote it, whatever. Either way, we'll be back with you again this Friday. New York Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network. Bye.